Hey guys, Dr. Sil here, and I'm very excited for today's video. I don't know if I've done a video like this before, but I'm making a video about starting a podcast. Wow, another guy with a podcast. Look, I know, and maybe this won't be interesting to many people. It might be interesting to a few, and it will make me an active, reflective person. So I'm going to do these videos. I'm going to start a little vlog-esque thing and describe my journey through starting and creating a podcast from I'm going to say from scratch from a podcast point of view. I guess I'm starting with the advantage of having a bit of a YouTube community, but I'm going to start the podcast from scratch. Now, I don't know anything about podcasting, even though I do have this classic podcast mic, the Shure SM7B, awesome microphone, and just iconic, isn't it? This is just what everyone's using. So I'm a conformist, sue me. Anyway, I'm gonna basically follow. I've checked out a couple of people who make YouTube videos on how to podcast, but I found Pat Flynn to be absolutely excellent. Nice guy, puts a lot of effort into his content, and is reaping the rewards with his community of people who are keen on making podcasts. So let me just give you a quick rundown. The structure of this video is I'm going to basically I'm going to give you a rundown of what I've done over the past week, which is I've started the podcast and I'll show you what I used. And it's essentially guided by Pat Flynn's content. So this is Pat Flynn's channel, 350K at the time of filming, which is in March 2022. So, this guy is, legit. He's all about passive income. I'm not, I don't really believe there's anything, nothing, people who say they make heaps of passive income are always working. As a tangent right now, I'm just going to say it should just be called exponential or like scalable income, because it's not passive. You have to do heaps of work to set it up, but it's scalable in that once you've created content, it can scale, and you don't have to do more work to get it. But it's not passive. I don't know where that term came from. Anyway, he's really into that. I kind of just do this because I think it's a good use of time. I think having a podcast is something I'm really interested in because it means some of the happiest times in my life is when I'm having just a nice, genuine, connected conversation with another interesting person. Simple things make me very happy. And that's something that makes me very happy. And I've done a couple of these doctors getting coffee things on YouTube. And I just thought, this is podcast material. Like, it's an interview, it's deep discussions about life, careers. So I'm going to start the podcast. Here it is. This is the guy who's going to teach me. And the main video that I'm using to guide myself is this How to Start a Podcast in 2022 video. It's a bit long, but it's really good. So he talks about the equipment you need. In terms of the equipment that I'll be using, I'm actually not going to be using my home setup because doctors are far too busy to come to my house for an interview. So I've got a mobile setup. I thought it would be interesting to do go through my bag and talk about the different equipment I use for the podcasts. This is a very echoey room. So I might start with setting up some audio. Now, to begin with, I have this awesome backpack. It's Peak Design version 2. Sorry, it was raining outside, so a bit wet. Got 2 Manfrotto tripods for the cameras. It's also got clips that come with the bag. And the best thing about this bag is turn on its side, zip the side out, boom, compartments. You think that's a lunchbox? Camera box. I've got my audio in one of these little pouches. So for my podcast audio, Rode Wireless Go 2s plus the Rode Lavalier Go. They sound so good. Let's set it up now so that this echo stops. Okay, so there's the Rode Lavalier Go. There's one of the Wireless Go receivers. The other one's actually connected to the phone that I'm using right now, an iPhone 12. You can see the audio levels actually not even in the sweet spot. They're actually not, oh yeah, they're just in the yellow spot. So those are the audio levels there. That's pretty cool. I'll hold on to that. I also use this for the shot of both into like the double shot for me and the interviewer, because it gives like a fisheye lens. This is the Sony FDR X3000, just like a GoPro equivalent. You could totally use a GoPro. This is the cable that connects the Wireless Go to the boom. This is the Sony A6500. So So that's the camera gear, the A6500 and the X3000, and I also use the iPhone for my shot, saving up to get another one of those for a better shot of me, but anyway, but it is what it is. I bring extra batteries and things, just tip it all out here. Extra SD cards. And, oh no, yes, 2 extra batteries. And 2 extra batteries, that's for the Sony. I have recharging cables as well if needed. And then the rest is just an iPhone charger, an extension cable, and one of these Gorilla Pods with a little with a kind of ball head. Okay, well that's basically all it takes to set up the 3-shot interview. Now I'm going to set it all up and we can have a look at it. This is the interview setup. Let me show you around the room. And the audio should be at least good enough for such an echoey room. Okay, so pretty simple really. 3 tripods, 3 cameras. This is the A6500, which will be on that seat, the main kind of interviewee, which today is Prof Brown. That's the shot that'll capture both of us in that chair and that chair. And then this is just the one that'll hold my camera, which will be the interviewer's shot, me. So it'll just kind of have an angle similar to that, but I'll get rid of the iPad. Got little extras in there. Also have an extra microphone that I might just connect to one of the extra cameras, just in case, because it's good to have backup audio. The podcast is simple. It's doctors getting coffee. That's what it's called. And I started off as making videos on YouTube where I was just interviewing interesting doctors. And we always had coffee, so I thought I'd call it Doctors Getting Coffee because doctors live off that stuff. And I was just asking questions about medical school and their careers and their challenges and the ups and the downs. And doctors are really interesting people, but you don't get much time to just sit down with them. They're always busy. They're always running from place to place. They're always hustling or whatever. So I thought it'd be nice just to sit them down, slow it down a bit, and just go through, some deeper questions, like the why. Why are you here? Why do you do this? Like, what makes you feel fulfilled? What scares you? I love asking doctors what scares them, because doctors are often, seen as these strong individuals, but everyone's being vulnerable is a sign of strength, and I think it's interesting to hear people's vulnerabilities. Anyway, that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I can see myself in 10 years doing it, and I can see the long-termism of it, and I love that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's why I'm doing it. Pat Flynn's the person I'm using to get it all started. He's really smart with his content. He has the videos. He also makes some like blog posts, which are all very useful. And the thing I found useful, and we're going to go through this together actually, is the cheat sheet. Here it is. So you just click on that link. All right, so I've got the cheat sheet here. Let's just go through it together really quickly. And as different things come up, I'll tell you what I've been using, how I address the different problems. We'll talk about the artwork, the description, and what I'm using to get the podcast out there. So here we have the podcast cheat sheet. You get this if you sign up to Pat Flynn's email, which, he puts a lot of effort into his emails. I appreciate that. I still unsubscribed though. Sorry, Pat, if you ever watch this. I just have too much in my email inboxes. Not personal. You bring a lot of value. I just don't want. I guess I unsubscribe because I want to choose when I see your content. I don't like it if. I don't like being subscribed on emails. It's like I'll choose what content I interact with, not the email choosing, like grabbing my attention. Maybe, I don't know. All right, let's go. Pre-launch podcast preparation. So what do you need to start your podcast? So order podcast equipment. All right, he just means, okay, so you got to buy some stuff. Now I've got mics. I just showed you them. I'm using, so to start off with, you got to order your podcast equipment. I am good with that. I've already bought all the stuff. So I've got the Rode Wireless Go 2s, and I've got some lavalier mics coming soon. So that's my main microphone. And then I've got backup microphones on the different cameras, video cameras that I'm going to be using. So I don't need the boom arm for my podcast, and I don't need a shock mount for it. They come with windscreens, so that's all good. This is quite stressful, getting an echo, like getting a room without too much echo. It requires quite a bit of processing and post to remove, or to improve the quality of sound. And I can't really control that because I'm interviewing people in different locations. But that's a problem I deal with on the day. So the other day I interviewed Professor Morris just in one of the rooms in his offices. And it was a small room, but it was carpeted, so there wasn't too much echo. It just wasn't a very nice background because it was just a blank wall, really. So I put an X-ray up. Really interesting X-ray, actually. After the interview, he explained to me what was on the X-ray, and I didn't even see it, so it was really cool. All right, step 2, we need some audio software. Because I'm doing a video podcast, so I'm going to be filming the podcasts and then putting highlight clips onto YouTube, similar to like the Joe Rogan style, but I'll be doing it for medicine. And so I'm going to actually just do the edits with video and then add audio for the podcast, like intro and outro. And I'll just use Premiere Pro essentially. So I'm not going to use Audition. I'm going to use, Premiere Pro. Interview. Yeah, and I don't know how strict I am going to be about this, but currently I only like doing face-to-face. Like I want to have a genuine connection with someone, and that requires the third dimension. That's me, this is day 1, so I'm not going to be too strict with that. And I imagine maybe I'll change my mind about that one day to interview really interesting people overseas. But currently I really like just face-to-face. So this is now time for details. Now the title, I don't know, I think I stole the title Doctors Getting Coffee from Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I really like that show. I think that show is just interviewing comedians in a way that they didn't have to be funny. They could just tell stories and they didn't need to entertain. And it gave a really new light on the comedians that Jerry Seinfeld was interviewing. It's on Netflix if you haven't seen it. So I kind of stole that idea and I'm just applying it to medicine. But hey, nothing wrong with that. So doctors getting coffee, DGC. Yep. The subtitle, I haven't thought of that yet, actually. I feel like Doctors Getting Coffee is the subtitle. I guess I would call it something like a deep dive into doctors' lives, careers, ups and downs, something like that. I'll think about it. Keywords would be like medicine and interview and storytelling and I don't know. I guess it would depend on the episode. The description, I'm not going to go through all of that with you, but I did that. And then the podcast artwork. I did that while at work, actually, on my lunch break. Let me bring it up. It's simple, but I like it. It's simple but effective. Good morning, crew. Thought I'd just add this little story about my podcast thumbnail. This is what I designed when I was working on the wards on a quiet afternoon. It's just a kind of like doctors getting coffee, beans with Dr. Sill. And I thought that was clean and simple. But then my registrar was like, that's a bit dumb, dude. It just looks like it'll be a barista's podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, like the only thing that's medical about that is the fact that there's doctors in the name, but like it's not very medical, is it? But I thought it was clean, and I wanted to keep it clean, and so I didn't really know what to add. But he was like, you got to add something. So we just popped classically, we just popped a stethoscope on it, and voila, that's the new thumbnail. I just added a bit of shadow on the stethoscope. Canva is absolutely fantastic. I use it for all my thumbnails on YouTube and for this. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. That's the thumbnail. The key thing here is I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not going to be a perfectionist. I'm going to just produce the content and then over time improve its quality. And that's a common theme across all the people who are very successful on YouTube. It's like go for quantity, not quality when you're early on. And I consider myself early on. This is a 10-year kind of plan over here. All right, cool. And then it's record and edit your show. So you hook up the equipment, you do the test recording. I did that. This is something I have not done. A folder system. Oh my God, my folder system is chaos. This is high priority. Yeah, my handwriting's messy. Don't judge me. Anyway, yeah. So I'm going to do that straight after this video. I'm going to sort out my folders because right now I'm looking at it. It's just off the screen and it's just terrible. It's giving me anxiety looking at it. Yes, of course, when you do an episode, turn off your notifications and silence. Talk to the microphone and then just begin and just roll with it. That's another thing. Yeah, if you mess it up, just keep going. Cool. The next page is all about the different stuff you can do before the interviews. I like, I don't, I tend to not really build a relationship before the interview because a lot of the time I don't have much time with the person, or maybe it's just through an email. But while I'm setting up, making small talk, that's when you can really connect. A funny thing happens when you're making small talk. You want to try and not ask too deep questions. You don't want to get to the core of things too quick because then it feels weird when you're repeating them in the podcast after. So it's kind of small talky. And normally I'm quite against small talk. I like asking meaningful questions, but that's a good case for it. And then it's all about recording the interview. And I think a key thing here that Pat Flynn really accentuates is make the patient feel comfortable. The way I do this is I say, forget about everything, just talk to me. We're just talking to each other, okay? Same as like in the Joe Rogan interviews, they're just talking to each other. The cameras are there, but they're just capturing the moment. It's just a connected discussion between two people. And doesn't matter what you think of Joe Rogan. I'm talking about just the style of his interviews is very commendable. This is something I'm going to start doing, taking notes while recording, because last time I did the interview earlier in the week, there was when I was editing it, I remembered, there was so many questions that came up in my head that I didn't ask. I'd forgotten to ask them because the conversation is chaotic and takes its own directions. So if I had just written down one word like drug development, then I could have remembered to ask about the drug development or ethics. So, I really think that's a really valuable point is take small notes. But the key is that you have to keep the eye contact and the connection going, because if you disconnect from the conversation, it makes it really hard for your guest to hold the conversation. I've had that experience where, it's not good. Oh, this is a really good one as well. Getting them to sign a release form. I've never done that. I think I might though. It's not a bad idea. I'll look into this. Look into this. And then it's all about editing, which I'm okay at because I've had the YouTube channel for a while, and so I've done a lot of editing, exporting, and then this is the other thing we should talk through right now is your media host. Okay, now I'm using Buzzsprout because that's what Pat Flynn told me to do, and I trust him. That's how these things work. You find someone you like on YouTube, and you use what they use, and he uses Buzzsprout, and it's got a free service, which is enough for me. So I'm actually just using the free thing. Let me show you what they're like. So this is the Doctors Getting Coffee Buzzsprout page. I get 2 hours of free a month. I've uploaded my first episode. It's linking to all the services out there. Look, I've uploaded my cover art, Doctors Getting Coffee episodes. Number one is there we go, Professor David Morris. I should probably give it a better title than that. Jesus, I will give it a better title than that. I guess I was not focusing. It's just too simple. I don't know, maybe it's good enough. I'll think about that. So this is like a service that connects to all the different podcast platforms. You put in your description here, you upload your file there, and away you go. You go to your directories, and these are all the different kind of podcast services. And I'm already on Stitcher, and I'm already on one other one. And I just hit them all and trying to apply to all of them. Still waiting for Apple, Google, and Amazon, the big ones. They just take a little bit longer, I guess, because there's so much competition. And that's it. Then, it all gets uploaded automatically. I just go to Buzzsprout and it'll automatically upload it to all these different services, which is pretty great. Then the next thing is really setting up a website, which I haven't really done yet. And I'll think about that later. I don't know if I need to do that now. This is something I kind of don't fully agree with Pat Flynn about, is this idea of doing a huge launch for your podcast. They kind of, he kind of says like you should treat it like a massive product launch and get everyone hyped to listen to the first episode. I kind of am of the opinion, like I'm all about slow growth, slow, persistent growth. Just keep it persistent. And instead of getting heaps of hype on board, maybe just like slow and steady wins the race. So I don't tell anyone actually. This video will be the first. The podcast has been out for like 3 days, but I haven't told anyone. And it's just because I don't want people to listen to it yet. I'm setting everything up. The other directories haven't accepted me yet, so I'm just kind of being a little bit quiet about it. And then by the time this video goes out, it'll all be live. Well, there you go. There's the first week vlog of starting my new podcast. Big thanks to Pat Flynn and all his great content. And we'll see how we go. This is week 1. I don't know if it'll last. I think it will, because I want to do it even if it doesn't succeed. And I think that's the key. Once you find something that you enjoy and that you want to do, even if it doesn't make money or whatever, then you're probably onto something really valuable. And hopefully people do enjoy it and you can make a little bit of money on the side. But anyway, that's a bonus, not a priority. And I just look forward to the next podcast. I've got 2 booked for this week, maybe 3. One is with a renal physician, one is with a palliative care physician, and the maybe is with an anaesthetist. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens. And you know what? I'll put a link to my podcast in the pinned comment below if you guys want to check that out. The key thing is to leave reviews. So if you could kindly leave a review, I would deeply appreciate that. That'd be very kind. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying till now. I know it's a long video, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen through it. I hope if you guys are starting your own podcast journey, please leave some comments down below, share your podcast, let me know what your challenges are, and let's start a bit of a group and a discussion. Join the Discord, and I'll make a channel for podcasters, and we can talk about the struggles of podcasting.